Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here. Let's skip past that quickly. Before I start, so StripeCon, I just want to say thank you for putting this on. We find it's a great benefit. We get a lot out of it. We get to meet great developers. We get to build relationships with suppliers. I think Dirk underplayed his role in his lightning talk about how he helped us with our Ratchet solution. I mean, without his input managing our environment, we wouldn't have won the deal, got the contract out, or completed the proof of concept. So if you need a server guy, Dirk's your man. Also, there was some talk last night about StripeCon 2020. I'm pretty sure Tenerife is not where we want to be. Well, at least not like that. So a bit about us. We've worked with SilverStripe since around 2009. We started with 2.3, I think it was, and we've worked with it ever since. We love SilverStripe. We try and do as much as we can in it. We're a London-based SilverStripe partner. We work in the experiential and engagement and events industries. We do some banking and finance stuff. But a lot of what we do is in that experiential and engagement and how people experience brands and how they work with them. This is what we tell people. Web-based applications that enhance the user experience, enable revenue generation opportunities, reduce costs, or improve brand positioning and awareness. Basically, we build websites and e-commerce stores. That's what we do. This is about getting the jump on the competition. We provide a solution that goes into trampoline parks where, as the kids are running around, they'll hit a button, it'll generate a video of them on the trampoline or diving into a ball pit or something. They have a band number, a recognition band number. It's a bit like one of these on their wrists, which they can then go online, or the parents can go online and download the videos and share them. And it is all about brand recognition, driving people back to the park, and then increasing the engagement of the users and what they're doing. Come back. The client requirements, so we've already got this solution in place. It's in place in probably 12 trampoline parks in the UK. It's in place in a trampoline franchise in Germany. And we won a contract with a company in the US who are the leading provider in the US. They do it slightly different. A trampoline park's 1,000 square feet. It's got a whole range of different activities in it. So their requirement was that we deliver the video systems into their park. It's about 90 video cameras in a park, all uploading videos that started off at 6 megabytes of video and now at 50 megabytes of video. So they upload those as the kids go around. They also wanted a gamification in it, so some way for the kids to play games, and part of that was educational games, so they had to spell words or score points and make it competitive, because points make prizes and prizes mean they come back. Increase the brand positioning. It is for them, the more brand positioning, the better they are against their competition, giving them a unique selling point. Increase client return rate and revenue. Apparently, people go to a trampoline park about 6.8 times in a year, and they want to lift that to 12. So it's how do we do that? How do we give them a reason to keep coming back? And create a desire to play. Now, this is the one that I always struggle with, because they go, it's got to be cool and fun and exciting for 7-year-olds. Well, I'm 47. There's a bit of a disparity, but we have to work around that. And some of the challenges, location. So they've got 500 locations across the US. We're UK-based, and so we're dealing in different time zones. We're also dealing in places where there's very poor internet access. Everyone thinks everyone's got broadband and it works fantastically. In the US, it's quite shit in a lot of places, and it's quite slow. So location is a problem. Connectivity, as I've mentioned. Scalability. So we've got one site which has 80 scanners in it, 80 video scanners in it, and they then want to scale that across 500 sites, 80,000 users. So we need a solution that will scale and ramp quite rapidly. The hardware, this is a scanner box. So it mounts on the wall, it's PPOE powered, and we've got to download the images to it for them to scan. I was hoping to have it plugged in today, but there's no internet for it. We've got loads of these. They all get made out of China. And the tooling itself is huge cost for it as well. Storage, as I said, the videos went from 5 meg to 50 meg, so we've got huge storage issues. Everyone would say, I'll stick it on CDN, put it on S3, and that's great if you view these things lots of times. Most of our videos have a one view rate. I reckon about 80% of the videos are viewed once and then never seen again. So it is about, how do we manage that storage without increasing the cost dramatically? And sales and marketing. I love salespeople and marketing people. Don't ever let them talk together. Because salespeople always overpromise, and marketing people come up with ideas, and you end up with a stick with the moon on it, and a hut on it, and a swimming pool, and the impossible. As an example, we said we'll build an app. There's an issue. You can't. Apple don't like you downloading videos from the web onto your phone, unless you're in an app. So we said we'll build a little app. You can watch your video and download it. And in the space of one afternoon, this little app turns into this. I've got video screens, I've got gamification, I've got user login, promotions, content. Suddenly, we go from tiny, 3 weeks down and dirty, in and out, into massive app, and I've still got 3 weeks. Don't ever let sales and marketing people in the same room unassisted ever. It's a terrible move. Why SilverStripe? Well, as I said, we've already got a solution on SilverStripe where the videos are coming in here and they're already going out to the web. We also then get a requirement one day. Our registration EPOS system won't connect to anything, and the supplier who said they could do it can't do it. Can you build me a registration screen where people can register and get their band IDs, and can I have it tomorrow? Because SilverStripe's really agile for us. Things like user management, members, that sort of stuff is already done in SilverStripe. I don't have to think about it. Do I have to create a member profile? I can quickly just build a form, build the registration model behind it, and we can be up 24 hours later. There's your registration screen. The client thinks we're brilliant, and it's very quick and agile for us. Can we then connect it to EPOS? Can we then transfer the data, move it around? So not only are they registering on a display in the store, but we're then having to send the data back to their tills, back to the EPOS systems and mark it around, which SilverStripe is great for, as it's headless CMS. We can just run it and then pull the data out in any format we want through it. So when we get to build an app, my user login comes from my registration screen, which we've already been. We're already pushing the data out. We're just using headless CMS to drive the data wherever we want it. It's the ideal tool. And most people go, but will it scale? Will it work for us? Will it do it? And it works exceptionally well. That's why we use it. And we're only using SilverStripe 3. So we're not even at that point of upgrading. So shh, don't. So as I mentioned, we also have these scanner boxes. So every time a kid scans the box, it sends a piece of data to SilverStripe. That data then collates their points, collates where they are in the store, what they're doing. We send the data back up to the app where they get their points. So from the point of scan to the app, it's got to be in the app within 20 seconds. With the calculations about how many points they've got. They can gain, I think it's about 3,500 points a day. So it's quite a lot going on there in the SilverStripe framework with stuff coming in. And we've got to take the data back down here to management information systems because they want to know how many people are in a store, how many points have been redeemed, how many videos have been generated, what's the activity, who's returned, who's coming and going. And all of those sort of things in there, which we all power back out of SilverStripe with a whole range of interfaces on it. Because of an issue with the scanners and the scanner technology, some bright spark said, rather than getting the scanners to upload straight away, we'll put a box in the middle in the store and then upload all the information. But their technology didn't work. So that's where Dirk stepped in and we had Ratchet. So we now have real time with a requirement of an under 2-second response rate with poor connectivity where they scan their band, We work out who the user is, we look up their band ID, we calculate, have they scanned it before, how many points they've got, is it a rescan, where is it in the process? So if they're spelling the word urban, which letter did they have before, which letter's next, where have they got to go, and all those sorts of things in under 2 seconds. Which, as Dirk said yesterday, it shouldn't work, but it does, and it works really well. And then we get the issue of what do we do about storage of videos, where most of them only have a once viewed point. So videos have a lifespan of 2 weeks, and very sneakily, Dropbox give you a business account, which I think is about £500, with unlimited storage. So we just archive all the videos into Dropbox for £500 for the year. Now, S3 can't compete with that, so it's an ideal solution. And should someone want to watch it, we just retrieve the video back out of Dropbox, back onto the server, and display it back out again. I should also mention that as the videos are uploaded, we use the SilverStripe framework to generate 4 different video views, 6 thumbnails for the different types of platform. Because the videos come in as full HD, so they've got to come down to 720p, 1080p, mobile versions, with all the thumbnails as well, and we do all of that within SilverStripe at point of upload. So there's a huge amount of data coming in. So this is what it looks like. So you might see in there, there's the scanned images there real time. That's how they work. Scan the band, they get a response back. Our performance chart is under 2 seconds, and that's on Ratchet through SilverStripe. So in our trial, we're in one park in South Lake in Texas. We generated in the 6 weeks it's been in trial 1 million plus videos, 19 million scans through Ratchet in the 6 weeks it's been running. 1,000 plus users, and they're rolling it out. We roll out in the next month to 50 parks, and then we'll roll out from there. So it's going in multiple steps as it goes out. Any questions?
Nice, very impressive.
Thank you.
What kind of infrastructure is that running on?
It sits on UpCloud. So we've got it running on UpCloud servers in Chicago, and we put CloudFront in front of that to use their caching and provide some performance benefits and to provide some space between us and the user. But it's just sitting on quite a big server in Chicago.
The hardware piece, is that just a standard off-the-shelf thing? Did you have to commission that? Or?
They are. This one is a standard off-the-shelf. It's a BeagleBones chipboard on it with some software on it, an RFID scanner, and a 7-inch display screen. The new ones are being manufactured out in China. They have tooling specially made for it because the new ones will be more compact. The scanners will be more integrated into the box as opposed to lots of different parts.
Did you guys work with a company that does hardware, or like how did like? How did that go? It's kind of.
Oh yeah, no. So we worked with an engineer on the Beagle Bones who built the software on the Beagle Bones, and then that's now done by a company out in Poland. And then we would talk to a Chinese partner about how the screens are made and how that all fits together for it. So it's quite a lot just in that box, and each box is about £500 for it. You know, it's quite a lot in there.
Hi, I was just wondering how or if you've had problems with privacy and things like that. Obviously, you've got a lot of film and videos of kids in specific countries. Do you have any issues with, cross-border data or data locations, anything like that?
We have major issues with it. So in the app, you access when you register. We get your mobile number and your email address, and your access into the app is you put your email address in, and then we text you a passcode which gets you access. So it has to be data that you've given us. Now in the US, if you're under 18, you're not allowed to share the videos. So then we have to know how old you are. We have to take out share points on the leaderboard displays, because we have displays in store which show who's winning and who's not winning. From that side of it, we have to remove surnames. We can't provide identifying information. We have to be really careful. The US with data protection is even worse than it is over in Europe for it. But we do have to look at, where's the data, who is it, how's that handled, what's the privacy, what parts of data can we hold, can't we hold from it, and how that works, and the ages as well. We can't, because a lot of it's kids, we have to be really careful about that part of it. But yes, no, it's an absolute nightmare.
You said you were creating different versions of the videos and thumbnails, and starting from SilverStripe, what is the technology you're using for this version?
Okay, so the videos are generated in the cameras, so that we have the cameras run. They run 24/7, the cameras, and then we segment out the time code of video from the point where someone pushes a button or scans a band. That video is uploaded as a MP4 file, and then we just use FMPEG to scale that down through quite simple, really. Okay. It's with anything like this, it's all about speed and how quick and how, the more complex it is, or more complex I make it, the more difficult it is. And one of the big things with video is getting it uploaded as quick as possible, complete that process.
And this is working considerably fast with FFmpeg.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Amazing.
Thank you.
You talked about having connection difficulties at the sites upstream.
Yep.
And all that. Did you evaluate having local installations of hardware, like a server locally that does the points and everything to return it?
We started off, that was our first point, in that because of the way it worked, we would put a local box in and have all the points locally, but then how do they get them to their app? How do we then move the points up and down? And then we found, because in the US they quite often have a power cut, everything goes offline, and then it all comes back, or they have a guest Wi-Fi, which they use on their main system as well, and then all the guests want to get on the Wi-Fi, so nothing else will work because the network's jammed because all the guests are on it. So, but the issue with having the box locally was, moving the data from local back up to the cloud and back down again, and B, just making sure that ran correctly and all the time. It's much easier to have each box send the message individually than it is to have one thing send all the messages every 30 seconds. And we found that if there was a power cut, the system would then resend all the messages. So we had one day where it re-uploaded everything because there'd been a power cut and it lost its timecode stamps on it. So,
okay. And then an idea for your marketing and sales team, since you have it all centrally, you could have the theme park or the parks compete against each other.
Yep.
Just saying.
Well, no, that's the plan. The plan is that the user registers and they're located at a park, but then they can then look at other parks and move around. And each park has slightly different facilities, and the parks are franchised anyway, so the park owners have to buy into it as well. So,
did you say you're rolling it out to 500 parks?
500 parks across the US.
This is more a business question. I think. How, like, that sounds like a lot of technical support.
Yeah.
Have you thought that through?
Yes, yeah, we are thinking that through. It is, for the most part, it will. The system runs as you'd expect. So it's about maintaining, making sure it runs. You know, that's why we use Dirk. You know, like late night phone calls. Quick, what are we doing?
He's going to be getting a lot more late night.
But
phone
at the
calls, I
same
think.
time, you have to remember that the client's US based as well. So they'll ring at 2 in the morning and go, "We've just had a great idea. And can you do it before we get back to business tomorrow?" And you're like, "It's 2 in the morning. Off." But we get a lot of that and a lot of support. Someone's band doesn't work. You know, someone's scanning their band and it's not scoring points, so we get a lot of those. Fortunately, we've got someone locally on the ground to handle the initial point. You know, and generally things are, you know, they didn't register their band, they didn't tie the number in, they typed their numbers incorrectly, they didn't get a text message with the PIN code, those sorts of things. That's handled locally, and then anything major, it will ping up. We use WhatsApp and chat forums for it, so just to pick up the rest of it.
Great.
But yeah, no, I'm dreading the support for.
You monitor your scanner terminals and cameras, and if yes, who?
Sorry?
How you monitor your terminals, scan terminals and cameras?
All right, so the scan terminals send a heartbeat every 30 seconds.
Okay.
And we have a dashboard that tells us if it's gone offline. If we haven't got a heartbeat every 30 seconds, because it's a persistent connection, we can tell if it's gone offline, we can tell what the information is, everything's logged through it. The camera system is monitored on site through this technology there as well. So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any more questions? Yes, we're here. So, did you do this in 3 weeks?
No, we started development just before December, and we were running first trials in April. The biggest issue we had with the app was just the scope creep, the enormous scope creep in it, and then the logistics around it. It's a React Native app, and so just getting that built and then getting it tested and getting it released into both app stores at the same time for every, you know, so that the MD who's got an iPhone and the CIO who's Android can then both look at it and go, "Oh, that." Do you know what I mean? It's just logistics around it. So.
Possibly a question with an obvious answer, but what drove you to use SilverStripe for the heart of it, where, you know, you've got the world of technologies and no SQL and, you know, all kinds of stuff you could have picked.
Yes.
What was kind of the deciding factor that said, you know what, we're going to use SilverStripe for this?
Okay, so I think the SilverStripe question goes back in time to when we first started working with SilverStripe. I'm an enterprise content management system developer. I've worked with Documentum, Oracle's Web Center sites, LifeRay, you know, at an enterprise level. And when we were looking at content management, we wanted something that worked the same way, that separated content from application, from presentation, and worked in a similar fashion, which SilverStripe does. It does exceedingly well. So we had already developed a solution in that space. And there's a question, you know, do we then start customizing it to do something else, or do we start from scratch? With the timeline, it was much easier just to pick up with what we had, which is why Ratchet was so important, because we didn't want to, A, learn Node.js, but B, then have to go through all that pain of building something again for it. Much easier to use what we've got and heavily index the database tables and do things like that to get the performance out of it. So.
Okay, so thank you very much, Aaron.
Thank you.